Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and I'm a full-time reseller. On today's video, I am doing my What Sold Wednesday video. If you are new to the channel, I pick out just kind of some random sales that I have been having and I share those with you. I used to show you everything that I sold, but now I'm just kind of showing things that are, trendy. I'm using certain keywords for something that sold very quickly, something that maybe took a really long time to sell. So I'm letting you guys know, hey, maybe we shouldn't be picking this up. Or just kind of some fun sales or bundles. So I did come prepared sort of today with actually giving you the amount of time it took to sell. So I do use the app Flip for my cross listing and sharing my Poshmark closet. The only issue is when something sells for me, in the past I have just been deleting it off of Flip after the time has been passed that it could be returned. And unless somebody can tell me that there's a different way, I don't believe there is. Once you do that, it will still show the sale, but it doesn't show when you initially listed it. So I can't go back and see when I listed it to when it sold. But some of them I have kept on there so that I can give you a more realistic look of how long it's taking for things to sell instead of me just kind of guessing. I could look into my spreadsheet, but that's just a lot of work. So some of them I do have actual information on that for you. The first few do not have that information. So the first one is actually a pair of can jeans. I feel like can you really have to drill it down to the style and the size. They do have the style code in the tags, or they should in the care tag. So I always make sure to look that up to see what it is, and then also with the size. With can jeans, I think it's just one of those brands that people know how it fits their bodies. There are people that that is their jean. So there are people looking for them, but not in every style and not in every size is what I've kind of found. These were a pair of bootcut jeans. They were a medium to dark wash. So that, definitely helped. That's kind of coming back here in the fall. These did go for $30, but I did have a discount on eBay. On eBay in my store, I would say 95% of the time I have either a sale running or some sort of coupon code. I think it just gets more people to come to my store. It attracts buyers that, hey, you're getting a little bit of a discount. It's really the discount that I would send them anyway. So it's not like I am, losing out on what I initially wanted to make on the sale. So that's kind of what I do there. So they did get the discount. They ended up paying with shipping $35.07. And I ended up making $21.92. That is not including my cost of goods on that item. Over to Poshmark. This was kind of a fun little skirt. Definitely giving kind of like holiday vibes. I titled this one Vintage 90s Red Blue Flower Print A-Line Drawstring Waist Maxi Midi Skirt Medium. This was from the brand Jonathan Martin. Never heard it before. When the skirts are kind of like, what do I want to say? I think I've said this before, but like it could go either way, either midi or maxi. I will put both of them in there just because it's really all going to depend on the person that's wearing it. If they're tall, if their legs are short or long, it could be maxi on somebody and midi on the other. So I put both just to kind of cover both bases. This was a bins pickup and it did go for $22. I don't know if I said in the beginning or not, but all of these sales would be from the end of September to like the very beginning of October. This was a pair of Abercrombie & Fitch shorts. I am still selling shorts into October. These little teeny tiny shorts have been doing very well for me. I titled this one Y2K Abercrombie & Fitch Dark Wash Low Rise Short Rolled Hem Short Size 2. In the description, I do use Bimbo Core, Party, Kesha 2000s. I normally throw in there Hilton and Spears using Paris Hilton's name and Britney Spears' name without actually using their full name. Let's see. So these one ended up going for $20. Back over to eBay. This brand, I feel like only sells for me on eBay. It's never had any interest on any other platform, so I don't know why that is. This is from the brand Sun Kim. I think I've sold like 3 or 4 items from this brand. They seem to be like a login look, kind of just very minimalist, but a little quirky in like the cuts of the items. This one was like a tunic dress. It was a plus size, a size 2X. I picked this up at Savers. I remember that because it was I think only $7.99, which I thought was a pretty decent price for savers in my area. They ended up paying $41 plus shipping. So let's see, after everything was said and done, I made $34.30. This is one of those brands that I would not recommend picking everything up because it's just Nine West. But I knew that I could throw in some keywords with this, and this was just kind of screaming like holiday to me. This would be perfect for Christmas or even a New Year's party or like a late fall wedding or something like that. This was, I titled Nine West Plum Satin Feel Tie Waist Ruffle Romantic Classic Dress Size Extra Large, new with tags. It did have the tags still on it. If it didn't, I probably would have passed. But it was from the bins. I did also put in their flirty, wedding guest, cute, date night, holiday, and this one ended up going for $22. I don't have the actual dates here, but I do know that this one sold in a couple weeks. Over to Depop. This was, I believe, a handmade apron. I picked this up at the bins. Any intricate looking aprons I will get. I'm not going to get a whole bunch of money for them, but they usually sell pretty quickly. This one I titled Vintage Handmade Tan Apron Cottagecore Trad Wife Cute Tieback Pocket. And I also used Farmhouse. It was, just one size. It had this ruffle, kind of like sweetheart neckline. It had some ruffles on it. It was just very trad wife cottagecore, I guess. Let's see. So this one, like I said, it came from the bins and they ended up getting it for $13, which isn't the worst because fees are very minimal over on Depop. So I ended up making $11.85. Back over to Poshmark. This is an Old Navy flannel shirt. If you are not aware, this exact one was pretty popular. I think it's definitely died down. It was very similar to Taylor Swift's jacket on her CD cover of, I believe, Evermore. So I actually made the mistake when that was very, very popular. I knew nothing about it, and I actually picked this up just because it was new with tags, and I was like, oh, this colorway is really interesting. And I put it up for sale for like $22. It sold immediately, and I was like, oh my God, like why is this happening? And I didn't find out for like months later what the reason was. It was because everybody wanted it because it looked like Taylor Swift's. So I picked this one up. I'm assuming at the bins. I wouldn't pay very much for it just because, like I said, it has some interest yet. Like I'm seeing some up here that are still listed. Some people have them for like 50, 40. I don't think you're going to get that anymore. So I was fine with a quick flip for $20. Still on Poshmark, I don't have the exact date on this one, but this took a while to sell. I think I had it overpriced, to be honest. This was a pair of J. Crew collection, so that is the black tag, I believe. Yeah, it's like a black satin tag. These were a wide leg and wool, like really preppy plaid pants. They were new at tag size 4. When I got these last summer, I did find a comp, or maybe it was last fall, sometime last year. I did have a comp that was over $100. So I was like, definitely. So I marked mine for $100. I had always sent out offers and no one, ever did anything. So I dropped this quite a bit down to $60 and somebody got it, which was still a really good flip because it did come from the bins. Still on Poshmark, this was a Harley Davidson shirt. Harley, I don't want to say I've completely given up on, but for the most part, it has to be something other than just a Harley t-shirt. There are millions of t-shirts out there now. It is just so oversaturated that whatever you have needs to have something, like something more than just a Harley shirt. This one had a couple things going for it. It wasn't just a t-shirt. This was more like a work style shirt, I guess you could say. It was button front. I think it had a front pocket. It had like this stitching in the back. It was a 3X, so a really good size. I did pick this up at the bins. It sat for quite a while, but it did finally go for $30. Over to Depop, this was a Maurice's like little tank top. Perfect colors for fall. This is like screaming whimsy goth. If you wanted to know what whimsy goth is, right, this is it. Because it is like this dark teal. It has a mesh overlay. It has a ribbon that ties in the back. It has like floral applique on it. Very witchy, very, just 90s grunge-ish going out, I guess, is kind of the vibe with this one. I did use Bella in this one for Bella Swan. It's kind of giving her birthday dress that we talked about a couple weeks ago. This one had quite a bit of attention on, I believe, Poshmark and Depop, but it did go on Depop for $24. This was a vintage like duster type top, I guess. It tied in the front. It was semi-sheer, so you definitely had to wear something underneath it. It was from, I think, JCPenney. Yeah, JCPenney Fashions. This one I titled Vintage Earth Tones Mixed Print Witchy Stevie Nicks Boho Tie Front Top size 16. This one I actually had for a while. This one took 5 months to sell, but it did end up going for an offer of $24. Still on Depop, this is from the brand Vocal. I've sold quite a few tops from this brand. They all kind of have the same type of vibe. This one had some studs on it. It had sparkle on it. It's close to the cyber grunge. I did use that as my keyword, but I think this one, it didn't have enough like crosses or skulls or like crowns or angel wings. It was a little bit different, so I think that's why this one took a little bit longer to sell. I titled this one Vocal Gray Grunge Cyber Goth Emo MySpace Long Sleeve McBling Top Extra Large, and this one did go for $20, and it did take 6 months to sell. This was from the brand Cut Loose. I normally do very well with this brand. This one took a while to sell. It took 10 months. I may have had it listed too high, but this one did have, I think it was linen. This one was not linen, so maybe that's part of the reason that it took a while to sell. But this one had kind of a cool back. It was like a little bit of a flutter open back. I titled this one Cut Loose Tunic Top Gingham Floral Login Look Boho Split Back Coastal Large. This one ended up going for $25 plus shipping. After all the fees were taken out, I ended up making $21.91. Back over to Depop, this was a vintage pair of Hollister shorts. Similar to what I said before of all the keywords that I use, this one sold in 1 day for my full asking price of $25. So what I'm finding though is in these Hollister Abercrombie, I haven't really found any American Eagle, so I haven't tried that out. Aeropostale I feel like just never really holds value, so I don't normally pick those up. But these teeny tiny shorts, it seems to be like sizes 0 to maybe 5 do the best for me, personally for me. They could do better in bigger sizes, but this is just kind of what I found. This was like a tapestry jacket from the brand Doncaster. I picked this up at the place where I had my booth that does consignment. This was on the clearance rack. I think I paid $10 for this, which was probably too high. I titled this one Vintage Tapestry Floral Embroidery Boxy Cropped Boho Art to Wear Jacket Size 10. I also used retro. Yeah. And this one ended up going for an offer of $24. These were a pair of shorts from the brand Lovesick. I didn't make a lot on these, but I knew that they would probably still flip quickly. That's kind of my main thing with these like lower dollar sales. I obviously don't want to have something that's going to sell for like 15 sit for a whole year. I want that stuff gone within like 90 days so that it's just like a quick, turn and burn. So this one is, I titled Lovesick Blue Black Grunge Emo Scene Raw Frayed Hem Distress Shorts Size 11. I also put in there Kesha Party Concert Stretch. Let's see. And this one, they only ended up going for $14, but they were pretty lightweight. And they only took 1 month to sell. Next was a vintage skirt. This one actually was a overseas sale to Austria. I titled this one 90s Vibe Velvet Flower Print Pull-On Grunge Goth Moody Midi Skirt. So this one I put 90s Vibe because it did not have any interior tags. It probably was vintage just looking at it. So when that happens, I don't want to definitely say that it is vintage because I can't really prove that. So I always put Vibe in there. They ended up paying $25 plus shipping, and after everything was taken out, I ended up making $21.95. This was a vintage like mesh robe ruffle type deal. Let's see. This one I titled Vintage Black Nylon Ruffle Wrap Tie Sheer Old Hollywood Grunge Cardigan Size Large. I also used sheer, vamp, baddie, layering, and this one took 2.5 months to sell, and it did go for an offer of $22. This was from the brand Ollie and Hallie. I've talked about this one a couple times. I don't know where this is sold. I think it's like one of those boutique type things like Judy Blue Jeans that you can't just like buy it in a store. It has to come from like a distributor, and then that goes to like a boutique type thing. I believe that that is what this brand is. Everything I've sold from this brand has sold very quickly, and for the most part, quite a bit of money. This one was a little less just because it wasn't as substantial as the other pieces that I have had. But this one was an oversized dress. It had some ruffle detail, size large. I picked it up at the bins, and this one sold in a week and a half for $25. Still on Poshmark, this was one that I just kind of wanted to share with you because probably a lot of people would pass this up. This is BKE, but this is definitely giving that Elena Gilbert vibe. So this one I did title BKE Black Extra Long Sleeve Emo Scoop Neck Grunge Goth Top Size Medium. I did put Elena and Bella in here. The shirts that are long sleeve that have like extra, so it's almost going to cover your whole hand, that is very in right now. So these type of tops I will keep going with until it starts slowing down. Over to Mercari. This was a vintage dress by Betsy and Adam. It was like a blue-black iridescent, like a prom dress, special occasion dress, I guess you could call it. It had like this little like miniature train, I don't know what you want to call it, in the back. It went like kind of down to your butt. It was a little sheer piece of fabric that matched what was like over your chest. This was maxi to midi length. I picked this one up at the bins, and it did go for $52. I ended up making $46.07 after fees, and this one sold in 2.5 months. This one was from the brand Roz and Alley. I think that this is sold at Coldwater Creek or something. I feel like I saw a tag that said that. This one ended up taking 5 months to sell, which kind of makes sense. I would have picked it up like going into the summer. This is definitely saying like winter fall to me, just the color palette. I titled this one Rosin Alley Dark Romantic Floral Big Bell Sleeves Plus Size Dress Size 2X New with Tags. This is a brand I would not say go out and buy everything. There were a lot of different factors with this one to why I picked it up. It was a plus size 2X. It was new with tags. It had that moody floral print. It had the bell sleeve, so I knew I could throw some keywords in there. If it was just a plain black dress, definitely would have never picked it up. Even if it was the same size and new with tags. There's just nothing more that I can use with that. So that's kind of how I go with those type of brands. It did end up going for $28 plus shipping. After all the fees were taken out, I ended up making $22.65. Back over to Poshmark. This was a pair of Athleta linen shorts, the Cabo linen shorts in a navy blue. They were 4 inches, a size 10. And these only took a week and a half to sell for $22. Honey Love, I've talked about this, I feel like the last couple of videos. I mentioned that I picked up 3 of them. They were all plus size. I think they've all sold now. This one ended up going in 2 weeks. This one had like some more sculpting to it. It had quite a bit of boning. It was a 3X. The buyer paid $32.30 plus shipping, and then I ended up making $27.18. These were a pair of Athleta ribbed joggers. Athleta is another one of those brands that I'm very hesitant to just like pick up anything. I make sure to look up the style, the size, and the color. I feel like the color really kind of matters too with Athleta. These were at the bins. They were in really good shape. They were a size medium. They did go for $34 in 2 days. So that was pretty quick. I didn't expect that, but I'm happy to see it. This was a bodysuit from Girlfriend Collective. It had like a bike short, one piece. I called this one Girlfriend Collective Black Bike Short Unitard One Piece Athletic Yoga Large. I also put in there, let's see, workout and gym. This one, it took 2 months and it went for $19. Girlfriend Collective is definitely not what it was like 4 years ago. You could definitely get quite a bit more money. This has kind of become one where I just kind of, feel out the style and the size and hope to get like 20, 25 depending on what the item is. This item I picked up at the bins, and I don't really know the brand, Rose and Olive. I think it might be like a TJ Maxx type deal. This one I figured I could throw in enough keywords that it would help it sell. I titled this Rose and Olive Black and Cream Abstract Print Vacation Crop Top Size Small New with Tags. I also put in there resort, party, summer, festival. This one, I don't know how long it took, but it ended up going for $23. Back over to eBay, this was a Halloween shirt. I've had this one since last Halloween, so we're looking at over a year. I'm definitely pulling back on like holiday type things that are like strictly Halloween, strictly Christmas. It's just, if it doesn't sell within that year, then you're kind of sitting on it. So certain Halloween items I would pick up without really thinking about it, just based on the style, but I'm definitely looking into it a little bit more. This one I titled Halloween Big Graphic Haunted House Pumpkins Bat Tree Spooky Top Size Large. They ended up getting it $20 for $20 plus shipping. After all the fees, I got $16.84. Over to Depop. This was a Maurice's top. This one took 2 months to sell, and I titled this one Y2K Maurice's Gray Gold Cyber Grunge Thermal Lightweight Hooded Top Size 2X. I put in here emo. It was a thinner material, kind of almost like a burnout material. I picked this up at the bins, and once again, this style I will keep picking up until it stops selling, just that thermal grunge type look. Back over to Poshmark. This was a BDG, like way oversized jacket sweater type deal. Originally, I picked this up at the bins and I was going to send it to Play-Doh's, but I did look up comps and I thought, you know what, this is kind of more substantial than just like a top from BDG, so let's try selling it myself. It did take 4 months to sell, which makes sense because I picked it up in the summer and now we're into fall. I did use keywords on this one like chore, barn coat. Yeah, so this one ended up going for $22 in 4 months. And the last item that I'm showing you guys, this was from Sugar Thrills. This one I picked up at Plato's Closet. I sell to Plato's Closet, so I have like a million points there. So I need to start using them. So I started looking for items to flip at Plato's. And this one I thought like no brainer. It's Sabrina Carpenter. It's just, someone's gonna want this. This one took 6 months to sell. So we went all the way through summer and nobody wanted this thing. I titled it Sugar Thrills Baby Pastel Pink Sheer Long Sleeve Corset Mini Dress Small. I did also use Tulle, Swiss Dot, Dowlette, Pastel Goth, Sabrina, Kawaii. Yeah, it was a size small. I don't know if that was the problem. I did have it listed quite a bit higher. I think this is part of Dolls Kill. There was always a lot of interest in it and just no one would pay for it or send me offers or anything. So I did lower the price and it did end up going for $35. So I wanted to share a little thing here that happened on Mercari. Another seller, I checked to make sure that they were a seller so they know how shipping works. I had sent them an offer for $20 for a pair of Banana Republic like work type pants. I believe these were close to 2 pounds, so I would have had it marked at USPS, like the $8, $7 shipping. And they sent me a message that says, "Hi, I would love to accept your offer. Will it be possible to change the shipping to 4 ounces? It will be less money. Thank you." And I'm thinking, like, you know how the shipping works on Mercari. So no, I'm not going to do that. Mercari is going to get dinged because the postage came through them, and then they're going to charge me for the overage. So why would I do that? I sent them kind of a snarky message back and blocked them because I'm just not going to deal with that. So I guess this is just me letting you know, especially if you are a newer seller. I've seen stuff like this on eBay where people are like, well, can you just, lower the shipping? Can you do whatever? These are your items. I don't want people to think that you have to do what buyers are asking you. Just block them. I guess that's my advice on that. Sometimes it can be very intimidating because you're like, I really want to make the sale, or, I'm trying to build my business. You don't need to do it with people like that because I can guarantee it's going to end up being a headache down the line. So if people are pressuring you to lower prices and you don't want to, incorrectly put in shipping, you're going to end up paying for it anyways. So just don't feel like you are being bullied into stuff. You have the right to say no, and you can just block them and move along. So this week, instead of a question, I thought I would do the emoji just so I can see who stays until the very end. Because sometimes I wonder if people are staying till the end and then the question that I'm asking isn't like relevant to them, so they don't want to answer, or maybe they just don't feel comfortable answering. So I will put up an emoji here and then put that in the comments below, and then I know that you guys made it till the end. And as always, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give it a like. It really helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!